truly African.
Hello and welcome to Talk Time. And this week, we are talking serious matters. We are talking about internal security. Therefore, we are talking about the police. We are talking about NADMO and all of that. Welcome to Talk Time.
Stay back and stay safe. The National Petroleum Authority is cautioning the public to desist from scooping or fetching fuel from overturned fuel tankers at accident scenes. Again, do not get closer to the scene in an attempt to take videos or pictures. Inhaling the petroleum product is detrimental to your health. Worst of all, petroleum products are volatile and highly flammable, and a small spark can trigger a catastrophic explosion, causing deaths and loss of properties. Don't let a moment of desperation lead to a lifetime of regret. If you see an overturned tanker, stay back and stay safe. Call trained professionals such as the Ghana Fire Service or Ghana Police personnel to handle the scene, or reach the National Petroleum Authority's contact center on 0302 550 380. Your life is worth more than a gallon of fuel. This Save a Life campaign is from the National Petroleum Authority, NPA.
Welcome back to Talk Time. And as I indicated from the very beginning, this week we are talking internal security. We are talking about how we feel, whether or not we can feel safe, and what are the measures which are being put in place to ensure that all of us as Ghanaians, no matter where we come from, no matter what our vocation is and so on, we can feel safe and go about our normal life without much hindrance. And indeed, it's our pleasure that the Minister for the Interior, the Honorable Alhaji Mohammed Muntaka, has himself come into the studio. Alhaji, you are welcome to our studio.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Alhaji, what is the general situation regarding internal security? How would you assess internal security?
Well, I mean, let me say we are first thankful to you for this great opportunity to be here and to share with you some of the things that we've been doing under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I'm sure that this question should best be directed to the general public or the ordinary Ghanaian. But I can tell you that looking at all the numbers and all we are doing, I can comfortably say we are better secured now than maybe when we took over. We've managed to ensure that the average Ghanaian is able to go about his or her duty without having to be watching his or her back. Since we came, I mean, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has been very emphatic about how we can get our country very safe. So the retooling, which we started, and you know, sometimes the difficulty in trying to get the security people to work together, we've been able to scale that and get them to working very, very closely, maybe better than ever before. Because as you know, I mean, I supervise the national security also. So I have the National Signal Bureau with me. I have the back BNI. I have the National Security Secretariat itself, the research. That used to sit as a different ministry. Then you have the police, the immigration, the prison, the fire, also like sitting in a different ministry. And sometimes trying to get them to work together was more difficult. Now, thank God, under the leadership and focus of the president, we managed to get them to working together. So, for example, if somebody misbehave sitting somewhere using social media to misbehave, the CID, whether CID or PID or the police, can easily work with NSB, that's National Signal Bureau, to be able to locate where the person is and then be able to zoom in. And one of the things His Excellency had done to help us to be able to achieve this, before the January 2025, you have the National Signal Bureau in Kumasi and Accra. Today, since we came, we've extended it to Ho, we've extended it to Koforidua, we've extended it to Techiman, and we've extended it to Sunyani. So, giving us broader coverage, and Senior Pratt, you won't believe it, we are covering almost every market, almost every major market we have in this country. We have our eyes there, and the cameras are there, and when you get an opportunity, just come, you see the live feed, and you see how we are focusing to watch the streets and all that. You knew before we came, there was these street cameras. So now how to get all that to be working together? Yes, I must admit, many of them are going obsolete, but we've activated many of them. And you realize that some of the major armed robbery that happened even before we came, when we came, we were able to review, especially the one that happened in, I think, Accra, Adabraka. We're able to get those gentlemen. There are sometimes interesting things people, sometimes I commend the security guys for that the kind of dedication and diligence. Recently, I'm sure you might have heard, in February 2025, that's just when we were settling in, there was this murder of a queen mother in Atibobo, if you recall it. Out of these gadgets that we now have, enhance, improve security, we're able to nab the perpetrators. Where? In Kaswa. Look at where it happened. In Atibobo. And yet, we got the perpetrators in Kaswa. And we're able to take them back to reconstruct all what happened. So I can assure the general public that we are not there yet, but I can assure you that the situation has significantly improved. I mean, when I came as minister, we had about 11 curfews across the country. Boko was under curfew, Nkwanta was under curfew, Sampa was under curfew, you have Bimbla under curfew, you have Bunkuguyoyo under curfew, and on and on. They were about 11. Today, by the grace of God, and through the leadership of His Excellency and the work that we've been doing, we allow 3. We allow Boku, Sampa, and Nkwanta. Even those 3, you will see the time, saying 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. It tells you that yes, we are not out of the woods, but it's not as difficult and dangerous as before. So a lot is being happening. And I keep mentioning the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, because I mean, you can set up this studio and take your men and women to work here. If you don't give them the tools to work, it's as probably useless as bringing them into this studio. Since we came, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has assisted us. I mean, we've got about 50 armored vehicles for the police. We've gotten even bulletproof buses, which we've been using, because some of the routes, like the Atibobo and other routes, there's this rampant armed robbery. So we had to use armored buses that will brand. So today we'll brand it STC, and then we'll pretend to apply on the road. And then yet they come and then we get them. So with that, you will see that we are making most of the routes that they were high armed robbery cases going down because of these bulletproof buses that we are using. Pickups. Most of our security agencies have lacked basic tools, like even pickups, simple pickups. And since we came, 2025, 2026, so far, we've distributed over 200 pickups to the security agencies through the help of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So you can see that the retooling is on. As we and I are speaking, We got in the financial clearance and we started the process of procuring fire tenders. Because, Senior Pratt, you won't believe it, the newest fire tender we have now was procured in 2014.
2014?
When President Mahama was there. 2014. And you know how the fire tenders work. Virtually they work 24/7, almost always on the run, depending on where they are located. So imagine that they run the kind of speed that they take and the kind of work that they do in quenching fire, and they are over what they call 10 years old. So it tells you that. So sometimes when the population call fire service and they delay in the attacking them, I say, look, you are venting your anger to the wrong people. But they need the tool. And sometimes when they are moving, I mean, there's one that I recollect, I think in the savannah, it was going to put fire off. I mean, it's somersaulted. The brakes failed because it's old. Now His Excellency has come and we are in the process of procuring about 100 new fire tenders. Yes, we are starting, and I know that maybe we'll not be able to get all the 100 in 1 year, but at least we are starting, hoping that maybe by December, we'll begin to get the supply of that. So a lot is going on. If you go even, because of the way we work for the National Security Council, we also work with the armed forces, and they will tell you that we have this forward operating bases in the north that are coming up. If you go and look at the immigration, the security cabins, about 30 of them are coming on board, almost ready for commissioning. All these are things that are being done to enhance and make sure that at least the average Ghanaian can feel safe when you step out to go and carry out your activities. You don't have to be watching your back. Before we came, I mean, you used to hear these mobile money vendors. I mean, people go and rob them in the daylight and take all their life savings. You see that most of this has gone down because our police, we are working closely with the association and doing the best that we can to make sure that they feel safe when they are carried. So a lot is happening in Pratt, and I can assure you that, I mean, we are safer today than when we came. But obviously, like I said, our hope is to work harder than we are doing to make sure that not only armed robbery, because one of the biggest crime rates that we have in the country today, yesterday I was briefing the president, is defilement.
Oh.
Yeah. And a lot of times people's attention.
But how do you deal with defilement?
Yeah. So now one of the things that we are trying to do is to come out with a massive campaign. So I've been talking to my colleague, the gender minister. So we are planning to come up, I mean, we are even meeting next week, Monday, to come up with a strategy of massive campaign. Our hope is to be able to reach out to at least 2 million students across the country so that they know what defilement is and how to report it. Because with the numbers that we have, I mean, I can recollect that 2021, the total cases was about 1,600 plus. In 2022, it came a little down to about 1,380. Then in 2023, it came still 1,300, about 25. Then in 2024, it came down to about 1,280. Last year, with all the effort that we made, we just come around 1,000. And this year, first quarter alone, I have about 258. For me, it is not the numbers. It's not just the statistics. Telling me that, for example, under our watch, young girls numbering between January and March, 258 have been traumatized and they have to live with this trauma for the rest of their life. I think it's something that we need to come up very strongly, put all the measures that we can put in place to help curb. Because sometimes the difficulty is that people commit this crime in one community and they quickly relocate and they continue. So we are trying to help the CID with their obsolete gadgets in terms of criminal record keeping, clearance and all that. So a lot is happening, but like I said, a lot more needs to be done to make sure that our community are very safe. Every individual can feel much safer and carry out day-to-day activities without having to be watching their back.
Honorable, you've spoken about retooling, but what about the welfare issues, the welfare of the people who work for national security in the broader sense?
Yeah.
I mean, like you go to Nima police station and you see the state of accommodation and so on. What is being done about the welfare of the men and women who work under your ministry?
I mean, you are perfectly right. One of the major challenges that I keep telling people is that you can't have the security people trying to protect us when they themselves are not protected. And when you go travel the length and breadth of our country and you see the kind of housing that they have, it leaves much to be desired. And the worst of it is that even those who try to find private accommodation, then now to pay the rent allowance, it takes a whole year. And you expect them to have, I mean, the peace of mind to be able to protect us. Yes, but like I keep saying, telling almost everybody, we are working seriously hard at it. Some we are using land swap, because some of them have strategic land. So we are using it to swap with private developers so that, I mean, if I have a 10-acre land, I said, okay, can it be valued by land commission? Let's say they value it at, say, $10 million. So, okay, can you take half of it and provide me accommodation worth $5 million? So we are doing that. The His Excellency, when he visited Singapore, came and we have something that is coming, these prefabricated homes. And they have promised to come, so we are expecting them to come. But even before they come, we are doing the best that we can to ensure that this rent allowance that is normally delayed becomes a thing of the past. And I think in March, Cabinet approved that those salaries and allowances should be paid together so that they do not have to have the delay. And now we are working through the paperwork to ensure that at least even where you are unable to find them accommodation they have to rent, it should come with their salary. It shouldn't be something that is delayed. But just last week, there were some private developers that came. I mean, the IGP brought them to my office and they came with some kind of juicy arrangement where government is not going to put a dime, but we should just give them the land. They will put the land and then they will fall on the rent of the what do you call it, the service personnel over a longer duration. So we are working at the nitty-gritties to ensure that the rents are real, can really cover the cost. And if it means we have to do other things, then we have to find a way of covering up, because they will hold it for, like, say, they were suggesting about 20 years and then they hand over the buildings to us. So we are looking at those proposals. And aside that, welfare, rightly, it's not just only about the housing. Even when they are sick, where do they go? And I came to inherit a situation where, for example, fire officers, I thought that was the most pathetic thing that I could imagine. When a fire officer goes to the site, I mean, because of the kind of fire, the gas and all the things that they go through, when you get injured on the line of duty, you have to treat yourself. When you are done, you now bring the bill, and then the chief will forward it to the Minister of Interior, and the Minister of Interior will now forward it to Finance. So somebody who, on the line of duty, get injured, have to find more money, borrow probably, to go and treat himself or herself, get well, now submit the bill before it can be paid. I said, what kind of arrangement is this? So when I came, I worked with my brother, Ejenim. Said, look, you are with SIC. What is it that we can do? Because this is very urgent. And graciously, we were able to come out with a package for the fire officers. So now we have a situation when you are injured on the line of duty, at least 50,000 is made available immediately to be able to help you as an insurance. So we've insured all our fire officers. So if you get injured, that it's serious, that you have to stay home, then you get 100,000 as insurance. And unfortunately, if the person loses his life on the line, it's also 100,000. It's small, but it's a good beginning.
Yeah, at least
and now,
it's a beginning.
Yes, and now we are trying, now that we've done that of the fire service, and it's almost 9 months, we've seen that it's working well. We now want to extend it to the others. Very importantly, the police hospital. You know, it's supposed to have been one of our national emergency centers. They're like 37. Unfortunately, it started in 2003. The actual construction started in 2006. To my utmost shock, I came to the office to realize that this hospital is still not completed. So, you can't believe it. Sometimes I wonder how we've been running our country. I'm looking for the document, the contract. The ministry cannot find copy. The police cannot find copy. Minister of Finance cannot have copy. Attorney General cannot have copy. I said, go to archive. They went to the archive. The file on International Hospital was empty. And I said, yet the group, a British company, they were insisting on coming to meet me. I said, no, I can't meet these guys when I don't have any information. I don't have any facts about this. I don't have any briefing. How do I meet them? But the more I try to get the document, the more my suspicion rises. So I just stumbled on a letter from Minister of Finance that was talking about something that Crown Agent have done. I mentioned cabinet. Then I said, okay, Chief Director, let's write to cabinet. Now we need any information on this. So when cabinet came, then I realized that in 2015, cabinet approved a forensic audit be done on International Hospital Group, that's the police hospital, which was done. We didn't find the report. But once PwC was mentioned, Price Waterhouse Coopers, yeah. I wrote to them that I needed an official copy, and they brought it. So you won't believe it. When they brought it, Crown Agent was mentioned, so I also wrote to Crown Agent, I need a copy of what they've done. Only to realize that in 2015, PwC had done this forensic. That showed that International Hospital has been overpaid about £40 million more. And therefore, government should take steps to retrieve this man and terminate the contract. So I asked, why was
£40 million.
Why was this thing not done? So I kept pushing, only to realize that in 2023, the same cabinet again has authorized another forensic audit, which was done by this time Crown agents. And they came to the same conclusion, that there's overpayment. In terms of the Crown agent, they are saying that the overpayment is well over £40 million. Then I cited a letter by the finance minister then, Anta, advising the Minister for Interior to take steps to terminate the contract. So I didn't hesitate. I wrote to the Attorney General for advice, and I've since terminated the contract. And I've taken it to Cabinet. Cabinet concurrently approved with the help of the President. The President said, no, we've had enough of this. And Senior Pratt, you won't believe it. In 2003, when President Kufuor was going to start, it was supposed to be a 10-key project. And the total cost was supposed to be £17 million. As at the time that I was terminating, documents that I have authenticated, because the Attorney General is telling me that he wants to believe that the money is far more, but what I have authenticated, paid, was about £57 million. After paying £57 million, the hospital is still not completed. And they were now demanding additional £43 million to be able to finish the hospital. I said, this is virtually, I don't know how to call it if it's not craziness. So I've terminated. And now Cabinet, when I went to Cabinet, I went with three things. One, I want Cabinet to approve the termination, which was done. And then I want Cabinet to approve the pursuit for the overpayment, which was stated in both reports.
To retrieve the money. Which has
and government and Cabinet also approved. And then the last one, which was most important to me, Cabinet should approve the re-award and completion of the facility so that our men and women can use the police hospital. So that is also done. And I want to believe that if this comes on board, and interestingly, when AESL went to the site, they are estimating that what they have seen on the site is not more than £5 million. But because now it's a subject of this, we are taking our time to go through all that, to do the repackaging and all that, and the re-award. So we are perceiving the overpayment, and then we are trying to get it completed. And the finance minister's, my discussion with him, is will put it in the 2027 budget for us to be able to get it completed. And I'm going to believe that if we do that, that will further help in the welfare in terms of when they get injured and what have you. Kumasi Hospital, Kumasi Police Hospital, I came to meet it not completed. I pushed and got it completed, so it's been commissioned. And then in Tamale, they have started something. I mean, I went and inspected it, and now we'll push that one is also completed. Even though I had to commission it, I'm very optimistic that we'll commission it very soon for the use of our men and women. In Tamale, we've tried to put in some residential accommodation for about 100 immigration officers, which I went and commissioned in Savulgu. As we speak, immigration in almost all our regions do not have, they are just squatting in offices. And you know, welfare issues include office space. As we speak, we are building 7 brand new regional offices in Tema, in Kumasi, in Tamango, in Tamale, in Sunyani, in Cape Coast, and in Sekondi, which are at various stages of completion. We are very optimistic that in the next 8 to 12 months, we should be able to get them completed, and then we'll be able to get them to move in. When you go to the prison service, the same thing. A lot of uncompleted buildings across the country. Most of them accommodation. I mean, in Sawam itself, there's this remand prison and then the accommodation. All of them are being tackled. So a lot more is being done, as you know, because of the IMF program and all that. Resources are not just unlimited. So we are managing just to make sure that, one, we make sure that their rent allowance doesn't delay unnecessarily. We are using land swap to be able to get some accommodation. We are using, the president has initiated the process of these fabric prefabs, which is even though yet to start, but we are very hopeful. Then what we ourselves are also doing with the little budget allocation to enhance their housing, arrangement. So a lot more is happening in the area of their welfare. But like I said, our wish will have been to fast track and even do more than we are currently doing, because obviously when you travel the length and breadth of the country and you see the kind of situation that our officers are in, you can't but to empathize with them, with the challenges that they have with their welfare issues.
Well, we're also going to take a short break. We are in a conversation with Alhaji Mohammed Muntaka, the Honorable Minister of Interior. And when we come back from this break, I'd like to ask him about other issues of welfare, like promotions, like educational advancement and so on. Not just in the police service, but throughout the sector, fire service, prisons, and so on. Short break.
Stay back and stay safe. The National Petroleum Authority is cautioning the public to desist from scooping or fetching fuel from overturned fuel tankers at accident scenes. Again, do not get closer to the scene in an attempt to take videos or pictures. Inhaling the petroleum product is detrimental to your health. Worst of all, petroleum products are volatile and highly flammable, and a small spark can trigger a catastrophic explosion, causing deaths and loss of properties. Don't let a moment of desperation lead to a lifetime of regret. If you see an overturned tanker, stay back and stay safe. Call trained professionals such as the Ghana Fire Service or Ghana Police personnel to handle the scene, or reach the National Petroleum Authority's contact center on 0302-550-380. Your life is worth more than a gallon of fuel. This Save a Life campaign is from the National Petroleum Authority, NPA.
Welcome back to Talk Time, and we are in conversation with Alhaji Mohammed Muntaka, Honorable Minister of Interior. And Alhaji, just before we went on the break, I raised the other issues, promotion, recruitment, advancement in their careers and so on. What is being done in your sector, abroad?
Yes,
prisons, police,
a lot is happening. There's also a lot of challenges. For example, let me start with the one that is extremely difficult, immigration. We came to inherit a situation where, unfortunately, I don't know what informs such kind of arrangement. That normally the structure of the security service is supposed to be a pyramid. So you look at their CIs, it tells you that there will be promotion, but when there's vacancy. So, for example, you stay in a position for 4 years and then you get promoted if there are vacancies. We came to inherit a situation where immigration services, Ghana Immigration Service, with a total population of over 18,300, has deputy commissioners of immigration, over 80 of them. And that's just the Controller General. Then you have commissioners of immigration, then deputy commissioners of immigration. So in the equivalent in police is like after the COPs, then you have the DCOPs. Police with a police population of about 50,000 has an established post of deputy commissioners of police. Remember that police is senior, much older and larger than immigration. The established post is 45. Yet you have immigration, they've not established the position, but the number of deputy commissioners of immigration I have are over 80. I mean, I inherited about 86, which is almost double what I have in the police. And people are there, and after 4 years, they say, promote. I said, no, this is a real difficulty. So currently, I'm talking to the council. We need to find a way.
That is the police council.
I'm talking about, in this case, Ghana Immigration Council.
Okay.
How to deal with it. Prisons and fire do not have so much of this distortion. I think in the case of fire, along the line, they managed to get their CIs corrected. So in the case of the prisons and fire, they do not have much of what they call these special promotions. So they do not have much distortion. And I must say that since I came, Prison Council is yet to make significant promotions. Fire has done a number of interviews, but in their case, you don't easily beat seniority. Senior Pratt, the one that is very, very sad is the police. The police, they are, very large numbers. And in the past, I'm told, a lot of distortions. People were sidelined because of how you were talking or being seen as affiliated to one group or the other or party or that. And therefore, a lot of people were left behind. And now we came, and then the current Inspector General of Police, Christian Yongonu, in an attempt to correct that, over 12,000 promotions. And that is also giving me sleepless night because
you have to find the
money. Apart from even finding the money, some of them are also distorting seniority. And one thing I noticed until I became there, I didn't know how important the shoulder is to the serving officers. It's more important to them than money. And you have a situation where you and somebody came out at the same time. Another person is like 2 or 3 levels ahead of you. I have argued that this notion of promotion every 4 years, so much all of us get promoted, I think it's wrong. We need to find a better way, because I want to believe that you need to make sure that officers have clear-cut rule that shows what you need to do to get promoted. For example, in the army, you know the number of courses, training, and courses that you have to pass to move to the next stage. And they have a situation where if you fail, you don't get promoted. If you fail the second time, the third time, then you retire on it. They'll let you go home. We don't have such in the police. So what you are simply saying is this kind of mass promotion. And now, the biggest elephant in the room currently is the chief inspectors. You know, currently, chief inspectors are going to college. Naturally, just like maybe in the army, when you join other ranks, you know that when you get to WO1, that is your dead end. It has to take something miraculous for you to be able to shift into the officer cadets. In the police, when you graduate as constable, your dead end is chief inspector. And that's the end. But over the years, for whatever reason, they find a way to try and say, okay, can we make a window of opportunity? So those who along the line have improved themselves could jump to the officer level. But in my view, which I'm working at, because currently their CI is under review. Since I came, I've been trying to review it vigorously with the police council. How can we make it so that by the time you get to achievement, you know, if me and Senior Pratt are all constable and we are all going, I can tell that, oh, the way Senior Pratt is doing and the kind of things that he's passing, the kind of exams, the kind of training, definitely he's most likely to get the opportunity to go to college than me. Then all of us just being there, we all just get promoted in mass, and then we get there and everybody just think that I need to go. But what age should we even use? For example, people come to me and say that, oh, can you be of help? I've been an NDC and this, that, but I'm retiring next year. Please help me to go. You are retiring next year. You have about 13 months to go. The training itself is going to take about 6 months. So you go and then to a college. After training for 6 months, you come out, and in about 8 months, you go on retirement. You think that's the best use of the state resources? We need to have all this clearly spelled out so that we all know that if I don't get to chief inspector, say by the age 45, or at say 50, knowing that after college, I still have some 10 years to serve, then I lose it. We need to stipulate this thing clearly in the guideline. What is creating the problem now in the services is the lack of, for lack of better say, the arbitrariness. So if you and I were all constable, we all got to chief inspector, as now they say all of us should come and write exams. When we're coming, I came as a driver. You came in probably as a general recruit. Let's assume I went to, I wrote City and Girls, and I entered as a driver. You completed A-level and came in. And through that, you were able to go to school and other things and have a degree and other things. Now, all of us are asked to come and write exams. Is this a fair way of assessing me? Because I came in as a driver. Can we have all these things? But for now, what we have is to say that come and write exams. And 7,000 of them wrote the exams. And we're to take the 700. It took the intervention of His Excellency to say, look, can you just add 300 and make it 1,000? Even that, the affordability, how to pay. And if they are going for the training, even the training space that we have. So now they have to be booking into badges to be able to get them trained. So it's a very emotional thing for the officers, men and women in the services. But I must admit, the one that is really a headache is immigration and police. That of fire service and prison is a little more decent, for lack of a better word, except that we need to fine-tune all of them. Narcotics control, because their staff are not very large, it's not too much of a difficulty. But if you go to NADMO, they don't even have what they call condition of service. NADMO, that's the situation we inherited. There's no scheme of service and there's no condition of service. Now that I came, I visited the place, as I gave the Director General 1 year we must have, so now we have. National Identification Authority, NIA, didn't have same, now we have. Small arms, Commission of Small Arms and Light Weapon, didn't have, now we have. So we are now putting all these schemes to guide how these things are done, how promotions are done, how you progress to the next level. If you want to go to school, What are the conditions? What are the things that we need to do? But currently, we are still reviewing that of the police, and definitely that of immigration. We need to relook at it, but in a way that does not distort the sensitivities that have happened in the past. Because some people were unfairly treated in the past. How do you correct that without also creating another distortion? These are some of the things that we are doing. But I can tell that in terms of the generality, the police and immigration, I know we have some disquiet, but we are doing the best that we can. With regards to the new recruits, as you asked, someone says is the biggest, even though my colleagues in education and health are taking the lessons that the mistake that we made. We made two mistakes, I must admit. When we wanted to move the age to 35, our focus was the professionals. But when the adverts was going, the qualifying age,
yes,
it didn't add the professional. So it looks like it was for everybody. And because of integrity of the ministry, once you've issued it, even if you made mistake, you cannot go and take it back because people have started buying the form based on the distance. But we were to target the professionals. So now, automatically, it's opening up a lot more space for people to come in. And when we're going, with the service commanders, that's police, immigration, fire, prison, and narcotics, we estimated that, only about 100,000 who want to come in. We opened the portal, and in 1 week, and we had to open the portal. Normally it's open for 1 month. We opened the portal for 1 month, and in 1 week, we have crossed the 100,000. Now I rushed and said, hey, can we pause? I ran to the president, said that, look, hey, it looks like we are going to have problem in our hand. 1 week, we have over 100,000. That's, but you were selling vouchers. People were buying these vouchers from the post office and the banks. Can you check how many people have bought the vouchers? To go and check, more than 200,000 people have bought the vouchers. So you have to wait for them to upload. As you are waiting for them to upload, others are buying more. So by the time we close the 1 month, applicant. So when we say applicant, those who have applied for police, those who have applied for prison, those who have applied for the 506,000. The Ministry of Finance, rightly so, the economy cannot just take care because currently the police population itself is 50,000.
Which is inadequate.
But what you have is 50,000. And now there's 500,000 people who want to come in. I mean, practically that is impossible. How do we deal with this? But when you look at the unique numbers, and these are two different applicants, 506,000. Unique number, because Montaka could go in and buy police, and buy fire, and buy immigration. Pratt could have gone in to buy immigration and prisons. So people have bought 2, 3. The unique numbers were 289,000. So that's about 290,000. So even if you are using the unique numbers, you are talking about 290,000. The finance ministry had given us space for 5,000. So the issue is, why did you allow the whole thing to run when you know you have only 5,000? Why did you not just allow just maybe some 20,000 or 30,000 to come in? But if you want to do something, it has to be transparent. Definitely, you have to give a time lag. And unfortunately, these are some of the things that happen. Now, where are we? We are done with medicals. Fortunately, His Excellency Gentleman Mama has instructed that we should keep the data, all of it, so that we'll continue to use the data for many other things, including future recruitments. So currently, we finished the medicals. I'm sure the results of the medicals is coming out next week. Because of the share numbers, those who went to do the medicals were over 100,000. Because of the large numbers, and you know, the medicals, some because of the blood work, but this time we did additional medicals, mental health, because within the services we have a lot of mental issues, and then drug tests. And then, so all this account, but it's interesting, some of the things that are being revealed, because over 4,000 people got discovered based on drugs. They failed the drug test. I'm told mental, we have over 2,000 people who have also failed due to mental, meaning that all these guys could have gotten into the service and created. Because just last weekend, if you care to, I don't know if you've heard it, a police officer committed suicide using sponge. So we have a lot of mental issues within the service. So we are doing that. So we are very hopeful that, as they said, they will present the report to us next week. We are targeting that hopefully by 1st July, we should be able to get them to training. Because once the medical reports are out, we will badge them. We will do the training. Unfortunately, now His Excellency John Dramani Mahama authorized that it should be double. And the finance minister has gone ahead to give us the authorization to double the number. So we are moving from the 5,000 to 10,000. At least that will help. So we'll do the training in badges. So those who will pass will send messages, and then we'll badge it, and then try and see how far we can go with the training. So in the nutshell, this is what we are doing with both the recruitment and the promotions.
Well, we're going to take another break, short break. And when we come back, Honorable, I'd like to know, the security services are being accused of just arresting people by heart. In fact, the claim is that your government is stifling the freedom of expression. What is your response when we come back? Short break.
Stay back and stay safe. The National Petroleum Authority is cautioning the public to desist from scooping or fetching fuel from overturned fuel tankers at accident scenes. Again, do not get closer to the scene in an attempt to take videos or pictures. Inhaling the petroleum product is detrimental to your health. Worst of all, petroleum products are volatile and highly flammable, and a small spark can trigger a catastrophic explosion, causing deaths and loss of properties. Don't let a moment of desperation lead to a lifetime of regret. If you see an overturned tanker, stay back and stay safe. Call trained professionals such as the Ghana Fire Service or Ghana Police personnel to handle the scene, or reach the National Petroleum Authority's contact center on 0302-550-380. Your life is worth more than a gallon of fuel. The Save a Life campaign is from the National Petroleum Authority, NPA.
Well, welcome back to Talk Time, and we are in conversation with the Honorable Mohammed Muntaka, Minister of Interior. Now, Honorable, the opposition says that the security services are just arresting their members for no reason. That there's a state of fear, the culture of silence is coming back, and so on. What is your response?
No, obviously. Senior Pratt, you've been in this country and you've been in this politics and the struggle for press freedom and free speech, not today. Even when those in authority were using guns. And if I don't remember anything, I remember during President Kufuor, where you had to go and take that one shot. Or you had to go and take that one shot at Hotel de Wawa. Obviously, what they are talking about cannot be the facts. I am an ardent Democrat. I mean, believe me, looking at where I was born, Ababu in Kumasi, I mean, it's almost a semi-slump. If not democracy, I couldn't have dreamt of even being where I am. So I know the value of democracy. I've had the great privilege to serve my people for over 2 decades. I'll be the last to say that people should be gagged. But we all know you cannot just be allowed to incite. You cannot just be allowed to just say anything. Are we all assuming that, I don't know whether you saw a lady who was, unprintable things about the President Muhammad.
The one who was saying that she was going to kill the president.
Yes. So you expect us to just say, oh, that's free speech. Then that would be madness. You have all manner of utterances. Look at the regional chairman of the Bono and his utterances about the judges and all that. You just say, oh, that's free speech. Then we'll be drawing ourselves into anarchy. So obviously there are red lines that people should be mindful. I have always insisted, and I told the security personnel, we need to be measured. Put the people before the court. Let the court determine that. You recollect, Senior Pratt, there were times that people were locked in for days. People do not even know where they are. No. Even when they do, I said, look, quickly, prepare them, put them before the court. Let the court make the determination. And that's how democracy works. Check the checks and balance. Aside that, since we came, even today in Cabinet, I tried to move it, but unfortunately, time didn't allow us. I'm trying to establish the independent internal security complaints authority, where it will be an oversight on our security. You know, in many jurisdictions, we have them as independent police complaint commission, where police do or take actions or inactions that affect them are able to independently report to this independent commission that investigate the thing away from those institutions. We are trying to establish one just to serve as a check and balance. So yes, and I will be the first to ask the police to investigate any excesses. But it cannot be said that we are just gagging people, because almost all those who've been arrested for one incitement or the other, they are not just kept at the police lock and key. They are brought, and we'll make sure that within the 48 hours available for the police to prepare them, present them before the court. The security agency will do that, just to be good sure that we do not draw our country into a very acrimonious kind of exchange. Because if I decide to just mount the camera and say all manner of things against you, Senior Pratt, tomorrow you also do same. You have followers, I have, and then before we realize, we'll be drawing the country into a very serious, insecure position. Our responsibility is to ensure that we all are free to carry out our activities. But obviously, the checks and balances should be there so that people do not just abuse others unnecessarily. So I don't think that is true, and I'm sure the like of you and many will attest to the fact that the current situation, and you know the president himself, is not the type who will tolerate a situation where people are just being abused left, right, center, and he will sit and watch. No. But obviously, when you present the people before the courts, and the court sees the gravity of what you are and say they go into a remand, who am I as an interim just come and say that even when the court says you should go for a remand, they should let you go home? That is the situation there, but I don't think it is true that we are doing everything to prevent people from freely speaking.
Honorable, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. I was hesitating because you may not know, but just let me try. Under what circumstances, for example, was Abronye sent for remand in BNI cells instead of police or prison cells? Do you know?
Well, the difficulty that we have is space. Currently, as we speak, we are trying to build a holding place for the CID. It's something that has been on the drum board for a very long period of time. And Senator, you can cross-check. I want you to independently check this. The CID at the national level is supposed to have a holding place. So that sometimes when things like this happen, you can send them there. But because we do not have that holding place, most of the time, when they take people to court and the court says that, okay, we ask them to be remanded under your care, we have to go beg Nima police station to put them there. Or fall on immigration if their holding place is a bit decongested. Or the BNI. So when they have a congested situation, because they've been asked to keep you. If it has been said prison, then that one they will hand you over to the prison. But they say, I should keep you. But I don't have space. I have to look for who can assist me, who has space, so that I can send you there. And it's been happening. Most of the time, the BNI, they have a better holding place. And it's interesting.
It's more decent than
it's more decent. It's more decent than the Nima police. That's why sometimes, I mean, and I must also admit, Senator Pratt, I mean, you can find out from the IGP independently, or Lydia, the Director General CID, or Kipo, the BNI Director, or Razak, the National Security Coordinator, as their minister or supervising minister. I try not to be involved in the nitty-gritty. I try to provide oversight. I try to provide the guidance at the very general levels, but the fine-tuning, for example, if they say somebody should be remanded in police cells,
how does that come to
how does that come to me to determine which particular cell he or she should be put and all that? No, it doesn't. So even if me will not do that, how will the president? So when people are directly accusing the politician, I mean, it's very unfair, because we don't do that. We allow them to operate freely. And where we think we need to step in, that's where we come in. But this is what I know generally, that where they are asked to keep people, they don't have the holding place. And as we speak now, we are working very hard to get them a holding place at the CID.
One of the issues which has been flogged, for more than 1 week, is the claim that somebody alleged that Dumso is back and was arrested. Of course. Do you know anything about
No,
this?
not at all. And I'll be very happy to be told who claims that there's Dumso and say because that there's Dumso and then that person is arrested. Where? They should provide all those evidence. You see, one of the things, like I sat here, we've been doing the past 1 hour, we've talked about so many things.
Yeah.
So I live here and then I get accosted that you asked me about the cells. And because I answered about the cells, that's why I'm being arrested. Probably, much earlier statement that I've made some grievous statement earlier. Now I choose to determine under which one I was arrested. That may be unfair. How will you just say that because you said Dumso is back, so you get arrested? That cannot be true. And I'm not aware of any of such thing, because I mean, under the even if it's the national security, under their act, they are supposed to inform me within 24 hours of any operations that they carry. So at least I will get the skeleton briefing without following to the fine tuning, but at least I'll get to know, and when I need details I'll get. But this hasn't come to my notice. I don't think it is true.
Honorable, thank you very much. Thank you so very much for coming. Thank you.
I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I'm happy that I've been able to have this interview. And I hope that many more opportunities will come for us to interact.
Anytime. But anyway, viewers, you've heard the Minister, the Honorable Minister for Interior. I do hope that this interview has been able to clarify a thing or two about the operations of the internal security network. Please stay with Pan-African Television until we come your way again next week. And stay with us because we give you the best in news, in current affairs, in sports, and everything. Bye-bye from all of us on Pan-African Television, especially the producer of the show, George Binair, and the director of the show, Edem Lumo. See you again very soon. Bye-bye.